vlog. Okay, I'm just doing my intermission number sa'yo lamang. Okay, because I need to sing that song also because I'm already exposed to choir. I'm singing in the church since I was young. Really, I'm a kid growing up. I'm always exposed to choir and music ministry. That's why I love to sing praise and worship songs also. It could not be denied. I cannot resist, but I will always sing that song in my heart. Okay, get the point. So, to the tenor group of Santo Niño Choir, shout out, I'm tenor group. And sometimes also I will act in soprano because my voice are dual. Okay, not only one type of voice. So I will use to be in the soprano. Okay, sometimes if they are absent. Okay, sa mga soprano, ipon ko dito, tago lang ko sa liyo. Wow! Really? Yes. Okay. Okay, nakakaloka. That was very, very a happy memory. Okay, singing in the church. A force of 115 neurons like this pulls the 30 kilogram backs. Okay, where na naging siya angle of inclination, guys, where 30 degrees from horizontal surface. Okay, horizontal surface. Okay, ganon. And then, okay, to the right. Okay, to the right. And then, okay, if the coefficient, okay, what's this? If the coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.25, what is the horizontal acceleration? Shwata. What is the horizontal acceleration? Okay. Meaning this is not yet moving yet. Right? Like this. Okay, solve na! Ano talaga? Okay. To those who are problem solver lovers. Okay, pasok sa banga. Okay, now. Okay, ang istorya na ito ni gayon na, mauni, chart. Okay, illustration and schematic diagram or sketch first. So we have here a block. Okay, so let's analyze first, huh? The block is not yet elevated, right, at first. Take note, because the answer will not be the same if it's first elevated and then that's another story. A force over a 15 Newton pulse at 30 kilogram. Okay, it created a 30 degrees angle. Okay, a 30 degrees angle when it is being pulled. So meaning to say the surface is not inclined originally. Okay? See, as what we interpreted here, right? And then, see, from horizontal surface, and this is our surface, let's say this is a floor or a ground, something like that. Okay? And then, okay, to the right, going to the right here, so positive, right? Right, you know? Okay, okay, so ang ipang-compute ano niya, matong ipangita, what is the horizontal acceleration? Okay, so acceleration is being asked. So the only solution or the only formula that we can use this is the second law of acceleration by Isaac Newton. So you remember that one? An object in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by the net force. So that is second law of Isaac Newton in the third laws of motion in physics. Okay, so it's gonna be F times mass times acceleration. So in this case, since we have a lot of forces involved, so we can say summation of Fx net is equals to ma. So tell me why Fx? Because this acceleration here is not the acceleration due to gravity. Okay, vertical is exclusive to acceleration due to gravity, which is the small letter g. But in considering the horizontal, we don't consider that one in the x-axis. Put that also in your brain cells. Do not interchange the acceleration due to gravity and the acceleration in motion. Something like that. Acceleration in motion is only small a, and acceleration due to gravity is small letter g, but it is upward and downward. Okay? So that you have an idea already. Okay? So if you interchange this problem, you will be wrong. Okay? Like that. Now your kinetic friction coefficient is 0.25, right? Okay. What is the horizontal acceleration? And it's mentioned already also this See, horizontal meaning an adjective referring to the type of acceleration. See, horizontal acceleration, description, right? So, gimension talaga niya to make it sure. Okay, like that's a problem. Okay, muna siya. So, kung itaon ito acceleration dari aling mga kapatid. So, acceleration equals to the summation of fx net over the mass. The mass is mentioned, so our problem is already the summation of fx net. We need to solve this fx net, right? Okay, so how can we do that? So, lado the FBD diagram. Okay, and 30 kilograms. Okay, and then a force, applied force na FA. Okay, 150 Newton. And then pulls. Pulls, guys, for example, pull, P-U-L-L, it's an evidence of tension force. Always put that in your brain cells. The term and the word pull in physics regarding forces is always a tension force. Okay? Pull. P-U-L-L. And then, if there is always a rope attached or connected, tension force is your forces there. Okay, you got the point. We have an identification so that we can solve easily right away, right? So parang walang keme-keme if you have the identification na talaga siya. And then push. If you push, that is your applied force. Push, P-U-S-H. And P-U-L-L is the tension force. So that we have an idea what's going on in our solution, right? Something like that. Or what pulls, P-U-L-L-S, there's a tension force. Okay, so it's being pulled to the right. Okay, with an angle of inclination of 30 degrees. Walang katapusang angle of inclination. Right? Now, so this have a vector quantity already because as usual, tension force will be a vector quantity if there's a component of the angle of inclination. So we have here Tx. Here Ty, and we have the Tf, the tension force only, like that. So, imuna na siya summation. Okay. Summation of Fx net. Oh, ganon. So, summation of Fx net is equal to the, okay, this is horizontal, right? So, positive Fa, so pila man, so 150 Newton. Oh, ganon. Okay. Then, another forces involved, we have also kinetic, right here, kinetic friction. So meaning fractional kinetic force will be also going there in reverse when you apply it here, FKF. Okay, so negative FKF. Okay, FKF. And then you have also another horizontal force which is the going there. You have also the TX, horizontal component of your tension. It's going to be negative also. No negative, no it's not. It's positive. Because when you pull, it's going to the right. Okay, so positive Tx. This is your equation 2 now. Because you have your equation 1 here in acceleration. So a lot of quantities like that to be solved. And anyhow, okay, let's try this. So in here guys, a force of 150 Newton pulse. So let's start with an assumption that the Fx net yet is starting from 0. Why we should do this? Because if you try to find out, you will substitute this with mass times acceleration. There's still an acceleration, there's still a fractional force. So there are two equations, right? Tf and acceleration. Now, imagining only. So if we have an acceleration here, and we have also the fractional force here, and we don't know also the T force component, then there are three unknowns, and we have only two equations, right? So it's not possible. So that is your first assumption why we let this Fx that is equal to 0. Another assumption, okay, that's the complicated or the complex of the quantities to be solved is very so many. So it's not logical if you don't let this Fx that is equal to 0. Another reason, okay, this 30 kilogram is starting from rest, right? Am I correct? Correct. And then Jun try to pull it back. So another assumption, Fx is equal to 0. Let's start with the first option because this is on the spot. I don't solve this first. This is on the spot, so I need to have an option. Okay, so Fx is 0. Okay, itong assumption. Okay, 0. See, equal to 150, right? And then we have also the, the FKF. Okay, how much is your FKF? We don't know. Okay. So, your FKF you don't know, right? Pasagdai lang siya. Okay? Plus TX. Okay, your TX will be TF. Okay? Like that. Okay, ano na siya pagkayo guys ha? Kasi masayog tanin ni higayon na. Okay. TF. Pila mo TF? A force of 150 force. Okay, so it's gonna be like that. We need to modify because the question says a force of 150 Newton pool. So this 150 is not the FA. This is the tension force. Sorry, I'm just human being. Kaloka. Explain to the max. Okay, there's no applied force yet. That is correct because you know if you applied force, this should not become equal to zero. Your F net, right? So it's gonna be not like that, okay? So erase and put that in another interpretation. Wow. Nakakaloka ni mga on the spot, eh? Diba? Sige. A force of 150 Newton force. O sige, muna na siya. So muna mo TF, mga talagang gamitan. So subunin mo siya ha. Okay, this is not the force applied. So ibig sabihin, wala force si Junjun di-push. Si Junjun, nagtukmod, nagkuhan siya, nagbitan. Okay, nag-pulse. Ako lang i-pull ang 30 kilogram na back. So I don't have applied force, meaning FA is 0. Because there's no involvement of the applied force delivered by Junjun. Only a pulling force. Okay, go back to the horizontal Fx net. Fx net is equals to, okay, ganun lang, chupa-chucho. Okay, that point mga palala, minitag. This is gonna be. Sa ito pa guys, ang FKF that try to act as an opposing force with a tension force. This is the applied force. Okay, going mo siya sa right. It's gonna be like that. So, negative FKF. Okay? And then, ako yung bilisod-lisod, no? Okay. And then, negative FKF, and then positive TF. Dayon. This is gonna be automatic guys because this is horizontal. No? Yeah. Horizontal is cosine 30 degrees na lang dito. So, ha? Because I already explained to you a million times regarding Pythagoras using the law of right triangle in algebra. I don't have to repeat that over and over again, right? Okay. So, our FX, ask me also in my FB Messenger and I will also help you. And research by your own, it's free in the www.net or in the different books in your library. Okay, something like that. Or any references. Okay, you want. Okay, something like that. So, okay. So if I will put this x to your f net, kakaloka, then it will become 0 is equals to negative FKF na mga palangga kong itag. Okay, plus TF, namatay TF, dimension mo dara, 150 Newton. Okay, cosine 30 degrees. So, dali na kayo nakuha rin mo ang FKF mga kapatid. Ano din siya? FKF is equal to positive now. Okay, 150 cosine 30 degrees. FKF is short kinetic fractional force. How much? Okay, ako na dito ako maganda. Okay, nakakalaw ka. Ang sa'yo special. Okay, pwede pala akong mabubuhay na ganito lang. Okay, di ba? Kahit walang mga chuba-chucho. Okay, cosine 30 degrees. Kahit harap ko lang yung mga numbers, mga signs, mga ganun, pwede na akong mabuhay. Char! Times 150 is equals to 129.9 T, right? 129.9 T is our kinetic fractional force. Okay, 129.9 T. So, marami siya guys. Okay, FKF, right? Okay, ganon. FKF. Okay. Now, vertical na ta mga palangga. Okay? Vertical para masulat to sa banga ang kanisyang kuan. Kinetic of mu fraction. Okay? Kinetic man siya. So na tayo F, KF, right? Now, arita sa vertical. Okay, vertical na ta. Ato isuwat guys, gamit ito space. Okay, 129.19. Ato ibutang sa tumoy-tumoy. Char. Okay, so FKF is equals to 129.90 Newton. Okay, ako papasok na kayo. Wala na tayo space gyud. Okay? Papasok na nato. Okay, ganun. Okay. Ngayon guys, nasa pa may buhato rin yung higayon na. Okay, ang formula na po sa FKF, di ba? Okay. So actually guys, I will tell you frankly, you cannot use directly the FQF is equal to the coefficient of frictional kinetic times the normal force directly because it contains angle. Okay, it contains angle. So you don't have to do that. Okay, go back to the vertical forces. This is another issue from here. So F net Y, okay, net is equals to the vertical forces na tama palangga. So normal force upward, okay, weight force downward. There's no angle of inclination on normal force and weight force. So positive normal force, okay, and then weight is mass times acceleration, negative. And we have also the positive Ty component of your tension force. It will become to Ty. This is sine theta because this is the opposite of your angle. Okay, because sine theta is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Something like that. Okay, sine of the 30 degrees and your hypotenuse. So what is your hypotenuse? So, the hypotenuse is TF, so 150, substitute dito. Okay, ganon. So, muna rin mo yung equation 2. Okay, equation 2. Kailangan equation 1 ganun na ito gipapas. Kung sige lang, mabalik na ito. Okay, so, it's gonna be like that. Tanaw ni mo lang. Susutero uwi. Okay. Ingano hidayon na, okay, imong mapamatudan. Nakakalaw ka. Imong mapamatudan. Anak mo siya guys, oh. What is the horizontal acceleration? Okay? So, nangutana siya sa acceleration. They ask for the acceleration. So, meaning to say, you should break down the formula of your Fy net. In this case, you don't have to put 0 in your Fy net. Okay? You get the point? So, we will say mass. Okay? 30. Oh. And then acceleration in which you don't know. Okay? Horizontal acceleration. Something like that. Okay? But be careful also, in your problem. Okay. Be careful in your problem. The component. This is vertical component. And you don't have to take the acceleration. Okay. You don't have to take the acceleration of horizontal because this is vertical component. Sorry. Things like this is, is instant. Okay? We're not preparing this. That's why. Okay, so if when it pala guys, hindi mo i-break down, ano mo kuno, mass times acceleration here. But take note, the acceleration here is asking for the horizontal acceleration. It's not the vertical acceleration. So we can never equate this. Unless the question will say, what is the acceleration? I can force this to put A here, but it's mentioned horizontal. So this is vertical component, so we don't have to put that one. Right? Ganon. Okay? So, I will say also equal to 0. There's no other option or else the problem cannot be solved. That's the point. If all options are used, and then problem, you cannot solve if you will not try. Right? So, if y net is equal to 0, okay? Never mind. Okay, 0 is equal to normal force times the mass 30 kilograms times acceleration due to gravity, C, plus 150 sine degrees. Okay, sine 30 degrees. Ganon. So, muna mong answer. So, ang Fn mo, makuha din ni gayon na. And then, i-transpose na mo siya. O, ganon. Daog na. Okay, ganon. So, di ba? Ang saya-saya special. So, sine 30 degrees is equals to times 150 is equals to mga palangga 75 siya di ara-ari ang kanyang whole quantity. Ano? 30 times 9.81 mga palangga kung hitad. Okay, 294. So actually, ano na siya guys? 294.3. Ano na siya? 0 is equal to the normal force minus 294.3 plus 75. Okay, subtract this first. This 294.3, subtract that first. Okay, ano mo? Minus 75. Okay. Ano? Negative siya, kaya dako man siya ang value sa negative, which is 219.3. Then i-transpose din mo siya, mayroon siyang positive. So 219.3 ang imong normal force. Okay? Like that. Okay. So nanapog kay normal force. Okay, so sa taas. Normal force is equal to 219.3. Okay? Ano siya? Newton. Nanaka. Okay na. Balik na po ka sa horizontal. Kaya nga because what is being asked is the horizontal acceleration. You get the point? Mga palangga kong hitad. Ganon. Okay. Go back to horizontal. Okay? Like that. Basta importante, nakuha na ng mga FTF, ang normal force. Sagdai lang, even if wala patakabot sa horizontal acceleration mo, abot talaga tayo dito. Okay, bisaya na yun. Okay, you get the point mga palangga akong hitad. Okay, let's go now. Let's continue to our solution here. So, it's gonna be like that. Okay, summation of your F net y-axis is gonna be Fx net. Okay, then try to troubleshoot the horizontal forces. We don't have Fa, right? Then we have the tension force, horizontal axis, right? So it's gonna be okay, TF, okay, TF, and that is positive. So TF cosine, because this is x-axis, cosine 30 degrees, and then what else? The FKF now. FKF will be going to the left. It's negative. So kani siya, 129.90. So 129.90, right? Is there any force involved? Yeah, nothing. There's no applied force. So it's gonna be like this. In this situation, shall we let the Fx not equal to 0, or let's just break down to MA? This is the time we need to break that to MA because this is now horizontal acceleration. Okay? You need to troubleshoot pala ang iyang descriptive. Kaya pala, in the problems, it's being specified whether it is horizontal or vertical. If the terms are being written, that's the purpose pala talaga siya. Because there are two types of acceleration. The acceleration due to gravity and the acceleration in the horizontal movement. And that's it, right? We got exactly what it means, right? So, summation of Fx net is equal to mass times acceleration horizontal. Muna siya ipangita. Horizontal acceleration na TF, o kopihan sa nila tanan. Okay, cosine 30 degrees minus 129.90. Okay, ganun chuba-chucho, right? Okay, now, solve for the acceleration. Okay, acceleration is equals to, kanisha, the whole thing numerator. So, tension force will be mentioned here, 150. Okay, cosine of 30 degrees. Okay, ganun, mga palangga kong hitad. Okay, and then 129.90. Okay, 129.90. Okay, 129.90. Take note mga palangga kung hitad. As what I've noticed. Notice talaga. Okay. As what I've noticed mga palangga kung hitad. Okay, now, here, okay, it's only, it's always detected by my brain cells. Okay, see, I will say, if kinetic fraction is 0.25, in this equation, it is not used. So what is the purpose of kinetic fraction if you will never use that one? So that's the first question that comes in our brain cells. How about applying this in our solution? Let's try. Because what's the purpose of that? It's only a decoration or not? So you will just talk to your brain cells during the examination. Okay, something like that. You will never say to your seatmate, just acknowledge, so if this equation will be like this, and what's the purpose of this QF? It must have a purpose why they put that in the question. So let's incorporate that. Okay, because here, there's no incorporation, right? We go directly, right, to the normal force. You got the point, mga palangga. So, mabalik ka sa equation of kinetic fraction. Kinetic fraction is equal to, ganon, mu F times the normal force. Right? You got the point, mga palangga kung hitad. Muna siya yung hitabo. Okay. Muna siya yung hitabo sa imong buhato niini. So, FKF is equals to the mu 0.25 times the normal force na 219.3. So, actually, I missed to incorporate the 0.25 here. Okay, I go directly to the value of the FKF na ito nakuha ganina, in which this is not yet considering the 0.25. You get the point? So, muna siya matabo. So, anak pa niya siya, i-minus pa na mo siya dito sa kuan. Diba? Pwede mo naman siya, guys, kung butang lang siya 0.25, eh, huwag man mo nabutang. Char! May ganon. Okay, palusot. No problem, as long as you can understand the problem, right? That would matter a lot. Okay? That's 54.85 ng ating FKF. So, 54. Asan na siya? 825. Okay, ganon. So, muna siya yung FKF. Na i-account nimo ang normal force. So, sa ito pala guys, duha ka FKF, no? Okay? You got the point? Inam sa kay FKF diri nga katong normal force na kadili-ari. Okay? Get the point, naman siya may tabo. Ano? FKF and then minus WMG. Diba? Ano? Yung isa ka. FKF 0.25. Okay? Times the ano niya, yung FKF. Okay, muna siya may tabo. Di ba nakakbawan? Muna siya formula, di ba? Okay. So, imong makuha na niya, 0.25, naman kay normal force. Muna kuha. So, muna siya may tabo, guys. Okay? Okay, wala pa mang kakibaw. Oh. So, muna na yung i-substitute dari ari. Kani siyang 54. Oh, ganon. So, 54. So, ano na siya? 54.825 and then 54.825 and then 54.825. Divided by mass nga 30. So, muna na yung acceleration mga palangga kong hitad. Okay? Like that. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, we can review this. Sorry. Okay. We can review this also. So to make the clarity. Okay, because this is on the spot. Times 150 is equals to minus 54.825 is equals to divided by 30 is equals to 2.50 meter per second. Your acceleration. 2.50 meter per second squared. Now, abdo ta mo lubog sa vertical force atong i-review. Ato yung i-review guys, nga no. Nawaha, daghan si vertical forces dito. Ana ay, okay? Okay, vertical forces, F net, because nakay nagpataas nga Fn, nakay weight nga mg, nakay kay weight. Plus sin theta, di ba? O, 150 sine of 30 degrees. So, mao ni imong Fn. Ato yung i-prove, mawili siya. Okay? Kaya mo naman ang giapil ng imong kuan, imong chupa-chucho, nga kuan, diri sa mg. Gizero mo lang mo siya, mo siya kung may tabo ng linya. Chart. Okay? So, alam mo siya may tabo. So, 9.81 times 30. Okay, 24.3 na kay sin theta. So sin 30 is equals to times 50 is equals to ganon. So 75. Okay? Ganon. Ano mo siya? Minus 75 pala siya. Okay? At ito magdaog sa vertical forces. Okay? Horizontal, wala siya problema guys. Okay? Nakaloka. Okay, so ano yung normal force ay? So 9.81 times 30. Muna siya minus mga palangkapong hitag. Okay? And then it will become, ano siya, negative, di ba? Okay, dako man siya ang kuan. So, kani siya, ano siya, no? Minus mg, dako man ang kaning minus 9.81. So, that means, manhimo siyang positive. Okay, get the point? So, F3 minus, gano'n siya ba chucho? Okay, so, ano na siya? Sin 30, okay, times 150 mo na siya, no? May tapo. So, 75 naman siya. Dako man ang usa. So, mao nang mahimo siyang positive after all. Okay? 9 times mass of 30 minus 75. Oh. Nakay 219.3 imong normal force. Okay. 219.3 normal force. Take note. Okay. 219.3 na. Imong balikon ang FKF. FKF is equal to the 0.25 kani siya. Okay, so 0.25 times 219.3. Check it out. Kung maawa din yung 54.85. Ako lang ginreview ang vertical forces because I am in doubt. Okay? So 219, this is too fast, right? Times 0.25 is equals to ganon. It's just perfect. See, pareho siya, 54.85 in your calculator. See? I'll just prove it. It's correct. Okay? Things like this, you know how to prove and you know how to derive and you can think quickly if you are in error. It's gonna be like that only. But sometimes due to the time constraint and time limited examination, you cannot think so much sometimes, right? Okay, that's why. Okay, so that is correct. See? Correct. So your acceleration is 2.50 meter per second squared for this question. Any questions so far for this? Okay. You know, if involving angle, makaligaw siya, di ba? If there's an angle of inclination. Okay, it's very fun and enjoyable if there's an angle of inclination. Because you have to think over and over again. Come on. Diba? Okay. So thank you so much for watching this fractional force and static fractional force. And then we almost ended the forces, except for the nuclear weak forces and the strong nuclear forces. And we'll be able to give a little bit of examples for the electrostatic forces, electric forces, and the magnetic forces. But actually, we already saw a little bit of magnetic forces, right? So, overview, okay, before going to the problem solving. Okay, we don't have yet the nuclear weak forces. And how can we do this? It's very difficult because, in nuclear forces, guys, more on emission and nuclear transmutation, more on rays, emission of the radiation like that. So, how can we do that? We landed on the electromagnetic language siya. Okay? Forces. Something like that. Okay. Atong balikon. Okay. So, gravitational forces. Okay. Wala pa matani. Right? Okay. Then we have the weak and nuclear strong forces. So that we can have the total package of all the forces in physics. Okay. Nuclear, weak and strong nuclear forces. Okay. Nuclear forces. Nakakaloka. Electromagnetic forces. Okay, electromagnetic, right? Okay. So actually, guys, based on my research, this is only the fundamental types of forces in nature. Okay, because the applied force, the friction is more on physical kasi more on movement of the man, how to push. So it's not really the natural forces that we have in our planet Earth, in our room. For example, if I will move this object that is man-made, if I will not move, that is not moving, that is not natural already. You get the point? Man-made. Meaning you do actions to produce forces and speed and displacement and everything, choose. So that means that is not natural. But these four types of forces are natural. Even though you will not push, you will not pull, this will be existing in our environment, in our planet Earth. This. So literally, this is more important than the forces, applied forces, friction forces like that. The purpose of that forces only is to understand why. Okay, but the purpose of these forces are really existing so that we can survive, especially gravitational force. If you don't understand that one, maglupad ka lang sa outer space. This gravitational force. All of us have gravity. Okay, so if we cannot understand what is gravitational force, how can we do that? We will be in the celestial bodies in the universe if we don't have gravity. Okay, so we need to understand also this one. Okay, maybe we don't know, then God will remove the gravity and all of us will be dying. Nakakaloka. Diba? Okay, the nuclear forces also, weak and strong. Without this, we cannot create gadgets and technology. Okay, because, inside our mobile phones are all about electronics interaction. Transmutation from one element to another element. So the microchips in the printed circuit boards, there's a reaction and movement of the electrically charged particles. If there's no movement in the electrically charged particles, then your cell phones will not be on. Okay? My laptop will not be on, the television will not be on, and the satellites also will not be working. Satellites, or whatever. Okay, the TV network, or whatever, like that. So, this is also very important, the weak and strong nuclear force. Okay? Without this, we cannot also see the light. Something like that, the photon emitted by the fluorescent. Okay? The visible colors, radiation. Electromagnetic force is very also important. The magnet. Okay? Like that. Magnetism. Law of magnetism. Charot. So without this also, we don't have, photosynthesis reaction. Because it's also removing of atoms in the electron transport process in relation to Calvin's cycle in biology. Right? Like that. So, electromagnetic force is also important also in the practical electricity in the Ohm's law, right? In electrochemistry, right? To convert, let us say, from chemical energy to mechanical energy to electrical energy to the light energy. This electromagnetic force. Okay, so this is very important. These are four fundamental, meaning significant, relevant, what is essential. That's the the same meaning of significant or fundamental. Again, fundamental, significant, important, essential, and relevant. These have the same meaning in English. You get the point? So we can use that interchangeably. Let's say, what are the four relevant forces? The same as, what are the four fundamental forces? Okay, so this, in the examination, you will change only the term. Okay. What are the four significant forces? Nga. Because gilis lang ang fundamental and significant, dili nakakamaon mo enumerate. Nakakaloka. Because there's a lot of forces ba yan? As I told you, 23 to 25 forces around us in the planet Earth. But these four are the fundamental types of forces, the relevant type of forces, okay, the significant type of forces, the essential type of forces, like that. Now, what else? Go to the dictionary, Webster Dictionary, there's another term for this, for fundamental, like that, like terminologies. Because they will change that for sure, another term which is not familiar. Because to trick out the examinees and the students. You get the point? To trick out so that they will be confused. Nakakaloka. Ganun talaga. Wala tayong magawa. Okay? You get the point? Something like that. I'm very interested with the honest guys. Weak and strong nuclear forces. For the gravitational forces guys, magkayo na ka siya. Not kaayo, but ano na siya? Char! Ano siya? A gravitational force from Isaac Newton is equal to the constant G times the mass of celestial body 1, meaning heavenly body. It could be the planet, the asteroid, the comets, the stars. Ganun-ganun siya. In the Milky Way, galaxy, ganun-ganun. Planets, whatever. Okay, so N2 over distance squared. Ganon. This is the formula of gravitational force. You can substitute everything there and you can solve what is being asked. Bingo. Okay? Chuba-chuba-chuchu na yun. Kung nakaba, laro-laro na ka sa problems, pero this is the basic formula. Right? Like this. Mura kang magduwa-duwa ba sa problems ilang gihatan. So the constant G is equals to 6.67. Kaya yung i-memorize, ipasok sa inyong brain cells. Because this is the constant. Okay, 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11, something like that. And this is gonna be a Newton meter squared, okay, over kilogram squared. So this is the constant for that. A gravitational force constant, the Newton's law constant, and the gravity constant. Ganon. There's a lot of names for this, huh? As long as this is gravitational force constant. Okay, ganon. Or universal gravitational force constant. Then, most of the times, Newton's law of constant. Newton's law constant. Okay, ibitik-bitik ka mukha, guys. Okay mo na siya. Okay? And then, may siya gravitational force. Oh, klaro kayo, apply siya sa mga universe, solar system, outer space, ganon. So, not really that, applicable all the time. Okay, but, the problem ang muli ko yung problem, i-equate din sa reality sa Earth. Muna siya matabo. Okay? Nga naman yung kasarsyotero i-equate sa reality of the Earth. Kaya nga naman good guys, ang kanang gravitational force, okay, murang mo siya sphere ba? Okay, sphere na mo behave siya katong centripetal force. Diba? Ang Earth, naman tayo centripetal force, na center, atong tamo directed to sa lingin-lingin, okay, big circle, small circle, and then the force will go directly to the center with a different velocity. Like that, because a centripetal force will just be there if there will be a force and a velocity at the same time. But the force will be directed in the center. Okay, let us say if our circle of our sphere is the Earth, then the center will be in the middle. And the velocity will change from left to right, from up to down, like that. Okay? But always the force going to the center because that is centripetal forces, meaning in English, central force. Okay, like that. Okay, muna may tapos. So, ano mo siya din? Fg is equal to centripetal force in Earth. Like that. Okay, so you have this equation and the centripetal force is equals to mass times velocity squared over r. Then bingo, you can solve also with relation to the planet Earth. Something like inside the planet Earth. Ikaw na bahala kung saan yung solve. Saan nga na siya. Okay. And later on, we will be having an example. Okay. Then sa electromagnetic force, guys, overview lang siya ha. Okay, sa electromagnetic force food, anak siya, okay? Okay, EMF, meaning electromagnetic force. This is also called the Lorentz force. Okay, Lorentz. If ang board examination gani guys, or ang examination division will say, which of the following type of fundamental force is a Lorentz force? A. Gravitational force. B. Nuclear force. C. Electromagnetic force. D. Debye force. D. London dispersion force. Your answer will be Lorentz force. It looks like not familiar, right? But we don't know really expect the unexpected, something like this. Okay? That's why we need to maximize our academic potential in terms of our studying portfolio. Wow, portfolio social, right? Okay, or the framework of your study, or the platform of your study. Okay, it's gonna be like that. Okay, it's gonna be the electric force chuba chuchu. Okay, electric force chuba chuchu plus the magnetic force chuba chuchu plus the magnetic field. Okay, ganun. Kita po, ganon. Si pa rin mga magnetic field, ano? Mutuyok mo ng magnetic field. Nakakaloka. Okay, mutuyok siya ba og circular path. Wala yung siya. Kaloka. Diba? Umana rin na. After that, umana rin siya. Okay, ano rin? Charge of the electric force times the electric field, EF, plus the charge of magnetic force, ganon, times also the magnetic flux with its corresponding velocity, QV, times magnetic field. Ganon. So, muna niyo siya ang simplified forms ay electromagnetic force, electromagnetic force and Lorentz force formula. QEF plus QV plus times V. V is the velocity. Okay, it creates a velocity, of course, when your particles are electrically charged to produce an electricity or current. It's impossible if there's no velocity. Again, it's impossible that there will be a current without velocity because they will never move. Okay, if there's no velocity. So there will be no electricity now in my room if the electrons are not moving. That's why velocity, okay? Right. Okay, now times magnetic field B here. Okay, like that. Okay, QEF. And then you will play around with these equations also. Sometimes it will be zero, like that. So it will simplify your answer. For example, if the problem there's no relation to the electric field, put this as zero. If your problem is not related to the magnetic field or magnetic force, put this as zero. Ganun lang siya. And then you solve what is being asked. Bingo. Perfect. You solve the answer. Okay, ganon. Okay, this is for electromagnetic force. This is only a rough and overview of the other forces in which we don't discuss yet. Okay, like that. Now we go to the weak and strong nuclear force. Papas. Nakakaloka. Okay, we go to the weak and strong nuclear force. Muna siya the most difficult. Okay, like this. Okay, for the weak nuclear force. Okay, weak nuclear force. Kung saan siya mga palangga? Okay. Muna siya katong mga kuan X-rays. Okay, laser. Okay, gamma ray. Ganun. Okay, isa pa. Beta ray. Alpha emission. Photon emission. Ganun siya. These are all what we call ionizing radiation. Meaning to say, okay, this is a type of radiation that will try to remove the electrons from the atoms or the molecules within different living tissues, water, okay, and any materials within the planet Earth. And that is the weak nuclear force or the ionizing radiation. Okay. You get the point? Ionizing siya ka ng mga rays, emission, ganun. And then the strong, sabi ng mga strong sa Sotero, uy, okay, the strong, katong mga kuan siya, so strong nuclear force, katong mga fission, fusion, okay? Sa katong atong adlaw, sa sun, okay? Fission, fusion, kapil ang kuan guys, subatomic particles, subatomic. Okay, subatomic particles. Kung saan mo mga subatomic structure, pero muna na siyang electrons, protons, neutrons, like that. Okay? You got the point? Atong timanan guys, yung nitag uwi, katulad yung mga kuan, katong mga decay, whatever. But here, simple na siya sa katong mga atom lang. Sulok-sulok siya dito sa energy level, not necessarily mag-transmutate siya. Okay, transmutate meaning mag-change siya yung appearance, ganun. Di ba? So lahi na siya ba niya? Mudikay siya. Kani siya, wala na siya mga dikay-dikay chuba-chucho. Dili sa strong nuclear force. Okay? Imo lang i-calculate nga nganong nilokso ang electrons sa ikaduhang energy level. Ganoon ba? O nilokso siya kay nikuha siya kanang electrons sa atoms mo na ano siya na, di ba? Na-energize siya ana ba? Okay? Wala siya strong nuclear force. Asa mo na siya ma-apply kaya sa atong mga adlaw-adlaw natin nga nabuhi. Ganon. Di ba? Sa mga neutralization reaction, mag-produce ng mga pagkaon. Muna siya sa mga strong nuclear force. Dili na siya sa mga weak. Kasagaran sa weak, katong ng ionizing na makapatay og tao. Kaya nga no, muadto mo na siya sa cell sa atong tiyan, kani mga gagmay na jud kay mga ray. Kani siya wala na siya problema kay wala na siya electrons, proton jud na ko siya. Muna sa mga pagkaon. Okay, mga beverage, ganon. Strong na siya. Okay? Kaya pwede makaon tag kabush, makaon tag bugas, humay, naman na siya mga particle. Pero dili na siya maong katong mga nuclear radiation. Kung ano na siya, strong nuclear force ang tawagan. Nakita ng materials on Earth, naman gina siya nucleus. For example, akong habol, nasa na siya nucleus. Ang akong kanang unlan, nanay nucleus. Tanang material sa na atong atubangan ay mga nucleus di ara. May mga atong kay imong ibungkag-bungkag. We try to get sample in the laboratory. Nanay mga electrons, protons, neutrons. Walang kakakita kay because it's already a finished product. But if you try to get sample and try to degrade that for the purpose of your experiment, you can get so many particles of protons, neutrons, and electrons in your uniform, company uniform, isa pa, mga papel-papel. Naana siya tanang mga electrons, protons, neutrons. Okay, muna siya. Okay, so manang strong yun siya. Kaning strong, na sa atong paligid-paligid. Oh, di ba? Around us. Oh, muna siya. Mga nagtanggingan nila na you cannot live without chemistry because everything is made up of chemistry. Starting from the sunlight, oxygen, air that made us breath. So that's why chemistry is the parent pure chemistry of all sciences. Okay? Including medical science. Umbrella ra ang medical science sa chemistry. You get the point? Central gid ang chemistry sa tanang science. Okay? You need to understand more chemistry well if you want to become a doctor. Okay? Like that because there's a lot of science about ingredients, compositions like that in medical science. You have to memorize everything about the ingredients of the vaccine, antigen, antibodies. What are the different substances? And if you don't know how to interpret the behavior of those substances, then your vaccines will not be effective. Okay, it's gonna be like that. You have a very, very rigid understanding of the chemistry of different substances, of different medicines, including pharmaceutical products. Okay, something like that. We get pharmaceuticals for the disease and control prevention. Okay, ganon. So, wala siya. Grabe sa chemistry and medical science. Okay, the medicines. Okay, that's why most of the chemical engineers can really understand their studies also because we have the same common denominator about science. We are not more on the biology, but talking about chemical substances, we can really understand, okay, something like that. Except also for the professionals or individuals who are not really concerned, they are just doing their education and kalas, as long as they can pass, like that, whatever, but they don't apply that in a day-to-day life. Okay? But for me, I really study chemical engineering because I want to apply that in a day-to-day life. Something like that. That is more important rather than passing the grades. Okay? It's wrong concept to say, I will just study because I want to pass, I want to get the title. It's wrong. You need to study that because in order you to apply that in your day-to-day life so that you can survive. Okay? Especially in preventing diseases, whatever. Right? Like that. And that can save you also in the future. Okay, for example, there are a lot of toxic substances and you cannot understand why and you still eat and drink them. No, it's not possible. That's why you need to apply your knowledge in the reality. Okay, ganon. It's not only you study because you need to accomplish what your parents want you to do, to be in the future. It's not like that. Okay, that is for your own benefit in day-to-day life survival in the planet Earth. And I thank you. Thank you so much for watching this vlog and live streaming. I hope you can share to anybody else. And then we go back to some examples also of the different processes I mentioned a while ago. Okay, you get the point? And then, guys, this is not really want to push you, okay? This is only a guidance, not only a really mandatory to memorize everything what I've told to you. It's, of course, if you are really related to BS chemistry or, related to science, you have to follow my instructions if you want really to become a legit and licensed professionals related to science, right? But if you are not that kind of professionals, then you don't have to worry because that is not your specialization, right? You get the point. If you're really a chemical engineering, BS chemistry, forensic science, medicines like that, BS pharmacy, no, BS medical technology, nuclear engineer, petroleum engineer, polymer engineer, like that. Okay, then you have to put in your heart this type of discussion. Okay? You get the point. Ana lang siya. But if your course is not related, if you want really to listen, that would be a benefit for me to increase my revenue in YT channel. Okay? You get the point. Double purpose. Okay? You get the point. And you can click the notification bell for some newest updates so you will see your channel voice. And you can subscribe also my YT channel if you want. Okay? Now, what else to discuss now? Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, mga palangga kong hitad. Bye-bye, Didi and Sarah. God bless. Okay, ganon. Kaloka. Ihabol talaga si Bibi and Sarah.